Hey, we're back again with Kelly from Touchwood Flooring, and today he wanted to discuss something that's near and dear to our hearts is Alberta weather and its effect on hardwood floors. So Kelly, get us started.
Yeah, so I guess there's a lot to talk about with this, especially working with, wood flooring specifically. We have huge swings, right?
Oh, yeah.
Between temperature and humidity. And humidity is a huge factor on your flooring. So I guess a couple key things are you want to be able to make sure you keep your home's climate as consistent as possible. And some of the levels that you want to keep the humidity at are definitely between 35 and 45%. And I know one thing that people have a hard time with is, well, when it's winter and you have your humidity that high, well, won't that, fog up or ice up your windows? And yes, it will. It absolutely will. But I mean, you're not doing damage to your windows if that's happening, right? It may not be the most ideal situation, but the wood in your home, whether it be the floors, whether it be the framing, whether it be the cabinets, whatever the case may be, it's going to be in a lot more stable and better condition because of that humidity in the home. Mm. When you start to get, down below that level, you're going to have a lot of shrinking. And obviously that creates issues on everything, not just the flooring. You start pulling on nails and screws and it's especially flooring and cabinetry that may have, a veneer face. That glue system that's holding the veneer face on, it's going to be under a lot of stress. And that's when you start seeing people have the checking or the cracking or the delamination in their products because their humidity isn't maintained and it's getting too dry, and the contraction of the floor is going to create a whole lot of issues.
So what do people do? Alberta homeowners or Edmonton homeowners who want to maintain a steady temperature and humidity, what are some of the things that they can do to help that along? Because, a lot of times the humidifier that's attached to our furnaces is just like a flow through, not very, robust system. And, to get the humidity just right is a little bit problematic. So what have you seen other people do?
Yeah. So the humidifier is always going to be the number one thing I'll recommend. And we've actually seen in many cases where a humidifier will say it's running at 35%, but then you gauge it and the house's relative humidity is, 25 or 28%. So I always say pump it up a little bit higher than what it tells you it's at. That generally helps, and maintain it, right? Get it flushed, change the filters, do all of that stuff to make sure that it's running efficiently. But also above that, just maintain your daily living in terms of running your showers, running the sink for, dishes, washing your hands, whatever. That's going to create humidity in the home too. But also plants help. Having plants throughout the home, when you're watering them, it's going to, create some humidity to help out rooms as well. But you can also get spot humidifiers, right? Room by room, whatever the case may be. If you don't have a lot of hardwood in your house, maybe you just get a small humidifier for your living room or whatever the case may be.
Right. Okay. Now, when it comes to the right temperature, just go to what temperature feels right.
Yeah, I mean, temperature is not going to have as much of an effect on your floors. Obviously, you don't want to cook them, but if you're cooking your floors, you're probably not very comfortable in your home anyway, right? So yeah, definitely temperature. Keep it to what's comfortable for you. We're more worried about the humidity levels.
Okay, so let's say the humidity drops and you start to notice some gaps. How big of a gap are we talking?
Yeah.
And how do you fix it?
Yeah. So it's really dependent on the product. Engineered products, because they are built to be more stable, you're not going to see as much gapping. You might see a little bit of shrinking in the lamella or that veneer. But you're going to see a lot more gapping in solid hardwoods. So those solid hardwoods, we've seen cases in some floors where you can fit, 2 toonies side by side into a gap. And it's because there's no humidity in the home. And to fix that, it's pretty simple. Get the humidity up.
Right. And it'll shrink that gap.
And yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. And of course, there's some cases where someone's installation beforehand may not have been excellent, right? Like there are other variables to why you are getting so much gapping in these climate swings. But for the most part, it's because you're not maintaining the humidity in your home.
Now, is the problem all season, like summer, winter, or is it mainly wintertime?
Yeah, it's mainly wintertime, but when you do have those dry spells in the summer, you get a little bit of an issue as well. Obviously, we've had a bit of a rainy start to our summer, so humidity shouldn't be an issue in your home. Even with whatever your humidifier is doing, if you have or do not have one, your house is probably at a good level. But yeah, winter is usually the hardest on the wood floors.
Now let's talk about the different sizes and widths of hardwood and how that is affected by the humidity. So I wanted to talk about that as well as colors. So are there any specific colors that you should, avoid or prefer? And as far as the width of the hardwood planks.
Okay. Yeah. So width isn't as much affected when it's an engineered product. We can do, 5-inch all the way up to 10-inch wide boards that they're going to perform really well if they're installed properly. But through the humidity fluctuation, it's going to stand up pretty well. What you want to look for and stay away from is the solid hardwoods. Anything over 4 inches, like you can get away with maybe a 4 1/4 inch wide. But anything over that in a solid wood floor, you're going to have a lot of instability. And that's what you really have to look up for, because that's when you're going to start seeing massive gaps throughout the year. And because you get such big variation and movement in those floors, what ends up happening is it's going to start pulling all of the fasteners away from the substrate. And, down the line, you're going to have squeaks or lifting boards, or, boards around the walls are not going to be fastened anymore, and comes a bigger problem.
Okay. Now, what about colors? Are there any colors that are better than others for the expansion contraction?
I don't think color has a major factor on it. I think where color comes into a bit more of a play is how dirty your floor looks. If you get a lot of natural light in your home and you have a dark floor with a little bit of shine to it, well, you're going to see every sweaty footprint, every speck of dust, stuff like that. So in terms of colors and sheens, and it's all preference, right? You like what you like. But at the end of the day, if you have a lighter floor with a more flat sheen or a matte sheen, you're going to see a lot less of those footprints, specks of dust, stuff like that.
Okay, Kelly. Hey, thanks so much for sharing with us today and telling the homeowners in Edmonton that, these are the things you got to do in order to maintain your hardwood so that you don't get gaps and weird things happening with it. So if you have any questions, you can ask Kelly directly. Just go to the website, touchwoodflooring.com.
That's right.
touchwoodflooring.com, and give him a call, and he can come out and give you an assessment, give you some direction and some guidance as to the type of hardwood you should select for your house. See you on the next video.